Today, I only have one goal, and that is to recreate this iconic poster right here. I remember like it was yesterday being a young kid in my cousin's room. We're both playing some Street Fighter Alpha 2, and up on his wall, I see this iconic poster hanging there, and just feeling that aura that you could see from Akuma facing off with Ryu, the image was just seared into my mind for years to come. And to help achieve this vision of recreating this poster, I'm employing two special individuals right over here. And just to give a little bit of context, I'm completely new to the toy photography scene, but I'm determined that we can recreate this vision and bring it to life, and at the core, just share this whole creative process with you so that we can learn together. Here's a breakdown of everything that we're gonna learn in this video and all the phases that I'm gonna take you through. Pre-planning is the first phase. We're gonna break down all the small details so that we're ready before we even start picking up the camera and setting up some lights. We're gonna set up our subjects so that we can get the right framing and the right composition. Then after that, we're gonna get into some lighting. We're gonna light the scene, light our subjects, and see what works and what doesn't work, and take away anything that is not serving the purpose. And once the stage is set, the lighting is how we want it. I'm gonna introduce to you some of the photography equipment that I have, the lens choices that I'm making, and even all my camera settings so that you know how to get everything picture perfect. And then for the final phase, which is gonna be so much fun, we're gonna take everything that we've captured, bring it into Photoshop and Lightroom, and do some compositing. And this is where the magic is gonna happen to recreate the poster and our vision. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Alamar, and I've been in the corporate creative industry for the past decade. I've done filming, photography, live events, graphic design, animation, everything. After a decade of doing all of that, I was creatively burnt out. Every time I would come home from my 9-to-5 job, I used up all that brain power and all that energy, and I had nothing left for my hobbies and my personal projects. And so to reignite this passion and to fuel my creativity again, I had to really reflect and just go back to square one, which has been helping me retain everything that I've learned and even elevating my content to that next level. So my hope and my mission is to build this community of creatives who have also experienced the same thing and have all these different passions and hobbies that they want to document, and just to remove all the guesswork. And if that sounds like you, then welcome in. Let's get back to today's video. I have the poster loaded up onto my iPad, and we're just gonna draw some notes on here just so we could see what we're looking at, where the lighting is, and pre-plan how the shot is being composed. So the biggest thing I see is that there is this white light that is illuminating them from almost like the back. I wanna say that it's like right here. They have this one light here, and it's like shining down. And behind Akuma and Ryu, there is this nice like rim light. And I almost want to say that it's because of the background, but there could be a light on either side of them that is also helping create that rim light there. So we know that we're going to use a little bit of like a light blue tone to kind of light that up. And then this spotlight is going to be like a daylight kind of thing. We're probably going to have this one fill light for the background to really bring out the tones behind Akuma and Ryu. I'm also thinking that Akuma's eye right here, we're going to do that in post so that we can really give him that evil look. One other thing to note is there is Sakura in the background there. Unfortunately, I don't have a Sakura figure, so we're not going to be able to add her in there. So overall for lights, okay, we're going to need about 3 to 4 lights, 1 spotlight. I don't actually have a spotlight, but we'll make do. 2 rim lights, 1 background fill. So that should just help us get the look that we're looking for. And for the framing, we're going to have it just like the poster where it's Ryu right here and then Akuma that is taking more of the frame. For these two figures, they are a 1/12 scale, and they're pretty much the exact same height. So the positioning and the framing and the composition, we're gonna have to just really play with it. So again, we're gonna have a spotlight just over here, shining down from above. We're gonna have 2 more lights. We're gonna try to illuminate them from the background so that we can get that soft rim light behind our figures. And then there is the whole background fill, which I think we're gonna try to have to do with 1 fill light. Now that we have a pretty good plan in place, all we have left to do is to execute on the idea. So cousin, let's go. We are here at the corner of my office with this really janky photography setup. Like, let me show you what I'm working with here. I have this black poster board that I bought from Dollarama, literally just 2 of them. One of them is taped to the wall. I have the other one here just to fill up a part of the other background. You know, you got to work with what you got. On here is this cutting mat. I place all my figures on top of here, but as you can see, it's pretty messy. So let's clean it up. All right, here we go. And done. I actually want to take a moment to introduce to you these figures. This is the Ryu from Storm Arena. One of my favorite figures that I've ever purchased. The articulation is great and I love it. And then we also have my goat, my true favorite, which is Akuma from Jada Toys. Okay, it has been an amazing addition to my collection, and let's go get them set up for framing. All right, so we have everything set here, okay? I have this one light just so I can see what I'm doing, but to make sure that we're staying on the course and we're keeping true to the vision of recreating this poster here, I have it on my iPad on the stand that I actually 3D printed. Yeah, pretty neat. As you can see, having a 3D printer has definitely elevated my hobbies. So we have Ryu here, and he's gonna be on the left. He's gonna be looking up. I actually think I have a different head plate so that we can match the poster. So we're gonna replace that, pop this new head on. And just like the poster calls for, the Ryu is gonna be facing this way. He also has his fist raised up and it's kind of more inward and just tweaking that over there. And Ryu is looking up and he is angry. And we're gonna attach him to this stand. And we don't really see the other arm in the, it's gonna be like that, okay? And then we're gonna also put Akuma on another stand here. I might actually even adjust his shoulders back just a smidge so it has more of his chest kind of popping out. So he might be actually suspended in the air, and we're gonna just fix that right here. So let's zoom in a little closer. Let's see if we can get it the correct height. He's almost gonna give him a little smooch there. The framing that we have right here, see to get that focus. Okay, and that is the poster. It's actually looking pretty consistent. There is Ryu and Akuma facing off towards each other right now. I'm gonna switch this to a photo mode really soon. But I'm gonna be basically setting the shutter speed to like 200th of a second. I'm gonna set the aperture to 6.3 so that we can get a little bit less depth of field because everything's a little bit more flat on the photo. Everything's a little bit more flat on the poster, I should say. Gonna just keep probably the ISO as it is. The temperature right now is set to 4400 because most of the lights are set to that. Just so you can see more of what I'm doing with the lights, I'm gonna still roll on my Sony a7S III here. Lighting that I'm gonna be using for this video, okay, I have these amazing tube lights from Amaran. My whole ecosystem has been Amaran. I just love it, it's consistent. They can all be controlled by Bluetooth from the Sidus Link app. So if I wanted, I can turn all my lights off all at once at the click of a button, just like so, and turn them all back on. And I can actually monitor the battery levels inside the app as well. And individually, I could set the colors, the tones, the white balance, everything. Usually I would like to just add everything and then start subtracting. But right now, since we need to conserve some battery, I'm gonna turn off the Amaran Ace and we're gonna just set the scene with the lights one by one. On the back here, and this is gonna be our background fill, okay? And this is actually creating a little bit of that rim light that we're seeing from the background, illuminating them. I don't know if you can hear baby in the background now, but she's crying. But we have that blue that we were looking for. And let's see if we can actually achieve that blue. Right now it's set to yellow. So boom. Oh, okay. So I think this is actually pretty close to that deep blue. Can I make it a little bit more teal? Okay. And what if I give it 100%? I think that looks actually pretty nice and really close to what we need. So I'm gonna stick with that. That's actually really dope. Okay, next light, we wanna do the spotlight. And the way that I'm seeing it actually is there's gonna be a light coming down this way. We could try with the tube first, and then we could try with the Amaran Ace if it's not really working out. I have one joint here, and I'm gonna lower the C stand. Okay, and I'm gonna turn it so it looks like the light is coming from above. It might be too above them. I might have to just bring it from this side. I don't know, it almost feels like it's coming from in front of them instead, right? It's like right here. Do it this way. Right now I have the light at a 30%. Here's what it looks like at 100. Which is actually not bad because it like, you could tell that in the picture, in the poster itself, there is like a slash of light there. So it's almost doing it, but it's too much. You might even be able to just enhance it in Lightroom. This fill light in the back is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, like surrounding them on the rim there. I'm gonna change the white balance to 2700. And that kind of gives them more of that warm tone that I'm seeing on their skin. I can enhance that inside of Lightroom. This is at 30% right now, at 2700 white balance or Kelvin. Akuma needs more of a rim light on the background there. So we're gonna use my Amaran Ace and we're gonna set the color to that blue. And we are going to, it's actually mounted on this car mount that I have never used in an actual car shoot yet. So hopefully soon. But we're gonna just see where I could place this, which honestly I think is like right here. At 100, it's kind of too much, so We're going to take it back until we get to a certain point, which honestly, I think 30% is that point. My one gripe is that this highlight of the light needs to be more accentuated, especially like on Ryu's shoulder here on the right side. Like, it just feels like there needs to be one more source of light there that is actually illuminating. It's either that or I actually switch this around. But if I do that, Akuma loses his. Maybe it just needs to be like right here, right? Here we are. We have 3 lights going. I have Amaran Ace off to the side, lighting Akuma on the backside. I have another PT2C tube light on the background, filling up the blue hue for the shot, for the scene. I also have another tube light attached to my C stand at 2700 Kelvin so that this is showing that warmth that is giving that spotlight effect. Now, it might be too much, but it's, you know, in the scene, it actually looks like it's pretty strong. And the problem is that I'm not getting the same kind of shine on it almost feels like there's 2 different lights, you know? There's one in front of them and there's another spotlight over here. So I was gonna try to make this work with just 3 lights, but I do have one more light, okay? Now this is like my first tube light I ever bought, and it's a light from Ulanzi. I think it's VL119, I forget what the number is. But yeah, this light wand, super cheap. I think it was like 40 bucks at the time when I bought it, and it works pretty great. I have this magic arm, and I'm gonna attach this light. I'm running out of battery, so we're running out of time. We gotta get this shot quick. Okay, so thing with magic arms, ta-da, you can almost mount it on anything. And then we're gonna try to manipulate and move this light around and see if we can get exactly what we need. I think like right there is this pretty solid spot. I think that's as best as we're gonna get. Like right there. You know what I mean? Like right there is perfect. Oh, we're gonna have to move this light again. Okay. All right. Okay, the tube light is 40% right now. I think we can do 30. Position's pretty good. Cool. And I'm gonna take the shot now. Okay, I wanna show you just a little bit about the camera that I'm gonna be using today. I've been recording with my Sony a7S III. This thing is a powerhouse, especially for video. Now, it doesn't have a huge megapixel sensor. I think it's only 12 megapixels. Still takes incredibly amazing photos. So I'm gonna take a couple shots with this, okay? But I also have my Fuji X100V, an amazing camera. This is like my everyday camera that I use for just like home life and photography, and it's super easy to carry around, and I absolutely love it. So many different Fuji looks and presets that you can apply inside of the camera and just get straight out of the camera alone, so no editing really required. So I'm gonna try with both, and we're gonna see the different image and how it kind of looks like. Okay, 1 second. There was a diaper alert, so I had to go on full daddy duty, so I had to completely change my clothes because I didn't want to get any poop on me. So now I'm wearing black. I was talking about gear. I'm gonna go through some settings with you with the filming gear that I have, and then just kind of take you through my process here. So thankfully, we already have the framing pretty locked in. And now I'm going to just remove my main camera. I'm gonna put it off to the side. And then we're gonna also do the Fuji X100V. Problem is, Fuji X100V definitely does have a fixed lens, so it's a little bit tricky to get the shot that you need. But I'm gonna take one right there. The shutter speed right now is set to 160, the f-stop is 2.0, and ISO is at 250. Really nicely composed shot. Might be able to take out that light in the background and just remove it in post. But it's hard because this is such a wide lens. It's getting everything in the shot. So I'm gonna take another shot here. Comparing it to this shot of the poster right here. Check it out. Side by side, that's actually looking pretty close. I'm not even shooting raw on the Fuji. I'm shooting straight up JPEG. So it's everything, all the look, it's baked in. I'm using a profile Portra 400. Yeah, Portra 400. That's the look I'm using. And those are some of the settings. So if you want to copy that, go ahead. But yeah, okay, so now let's use the Sony a7S III and let's get the photos. I'm gonna set my Sony a7S III back onto the tripod. And what's cool is that I actually have these Falcam F38 plates here, these quick release plates. And it's awesome, I love using this. Makes it so that I can just, you know, take the camera off and mount it vertically really simply, just like that. And I'm gonna set this to full manual. And now we're gonna have to play with this because the shot Looks a little bit different from what it did before. There's some focus peaking that's going on. It's like that white edge. It's just showing me what's in focus and highlighting it so that I can get the right shot here. So I'm gonna try to balance my tripod a bit. Might even have to just lower this a lot more. Oh God, oh God. Thing underneath my desk needs to move. What a struggle. Holy crap. Much better. Framing is pretty good. Change the shutter speed. Let's get it 200. Even though everything's pretty still, I'm gonna change focal length or the f-stop to 6.3 just to make sure everything's a little bit more focused in. ISO, I could bring that up a bit more. This is as good as we're gonna get. I'm lining up Akuma and Ryu to the grid lines here. Ryu's on the left, Akuma's on the right. And as you can see, the composition, it's like he's right at that focal point there, and Ryu is along that one grid line on the third. So this is actually really nice. I'm gonna take a couple shots here. Let's do one more. Maybe what we can try to do is maybe just bring it a little bit closer. Again, looking at the focus peaking lines, as you can see, I like to just get it right onto their eyes, on the subject's eyes, and that usually helps. We're gonna take a shot there, and let's just keep adjusting, shall we? Let's move him closer. Here's Akuma, looking super angry. So let's take a couple more shots. And just so you could see one final look in camera, right there, that's the shot. And comparing it to the poster that we have, I think it's looking pretty good. And here is an overview of everything so far. This is our setup. It looks kind of crazy, but I think it works. All that's left to do is to put it into my MacBook and do some compositing over there. So let's go do that. Really quick McDonald's run because the wife is hungry and she's craving McDonald's. And you know what? She's been working so hard with the baby. Of course I'm helping her, okay? Don't think I'm not helping her, okay? I am. And yeah, so she deserves it, honestly. And yeah, we're gonna eat first before we get right into the editing. So here it is. Just finished dinner. Wife is happy. I'm happy. We just had McDonald's. It's been a minute. Anyways, I digress. Now we are ready to start compositing. I have all the photos, all the footage loaded onto my MacBook. I backed it all up already. And so here we are in Lightroom, okay? And these are the raws, okay? So we're gonna scroll through them a little bit. So this one, the framing is not that bad, but it could be better. And I think over here is where we made the adjustment. Yeah, so I'm gonna use this one. From what we have so far, I think we're pretty close. We're actually in a really good position here. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna have this kind of on the side so that when we're editing this and doing all the color grading and stuff, we can pretty much tune it to how the poster is looking. We are going to fix the cropping of this frame. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the crop tool here. I'm gonna make it 4x5. Because basically we're gonna be posting this on social media, right? And let's just crop it. So we have the fist kind of at the bottom there. Ryu fills up most of the frame or on the left side, right? And then we have Akuma. Just like that is actually pretty good. What I really don't like in the Jada figure is that his his string is not really like a string, but that's okay. Background, I think we can make the adjustment there where it has more of a vignette because as you can see in the corner, it's darker. And then it's more lighter in the middle. What we're gonna do instead, I think I'm gonna try a radial gradient and then try to subtract with the subjects. We are going to rotate it a bit more. I think that's good. Can I invert the mask? Invert gradient. Okay. And then I'm going to subtract mask with the subjects. Cool. And now I'm going to, and there we go. So if I drop the exposure, right. And then if I just kind of silo it in a bit more, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's working good. Exactly what I want. I'm gonna rotate a bit more here. The light is more shining down, right? Okay, so that's good. Maybe make it a little bit more dramatic and use this slider here to kind of gradually bring that in a bit more. Okay, cool. I'm going to also add another gradient, another radial gradient. I want this kind of in that same area here. But now what I'm gonna do, I want to accentuate a little bit more of that brightness here. See that? Because for some reason, it wasn't really showing up
too well in camera. So we're gonna try to get a little bit more of that in there. We could probably paint a little bit more lights into here. And the way that we could do that is if I do a brush tool, okay? And I'm gonna kind of like, I'm gonna select here, around these areas, around here, shoulder of Ryu, darkness into there. Let's see how this looks. So I'm gonna bring down the exposure. You see that? Yeah, see? Okay. And maybe that'll help us with the image. Honestly, I think all of this needs to go darker. There. See, now more of that light is shining in the middle, and a lot of this can look darker. And what does that look like on and off with all the masks we done? Look at that. Look at all that depth we brought into the image. Definitely give this a little bit more color. I'm gonna go back to the main part here with the lighting. I'm gonna drop the exposure overall, add more contrast. The highlights, bring some of that in more. Shadows, deepen those a bit. Okay, let's make this all even numbers. The whites, let's see what happens when you bring it all the way up. I actually don't mind that because in the image itself, it's very contrasty, right? And so like those parts right here are very like they're hot. That's what they call it. So I don't mind bumping that up a bit. And then the blacks, I think I can deepen it a bit more because it's very dark in those areas as well. Here's a curve. A lot of people, you know what they do? Simple, an S curve. Okay. This kind of just makes the image a little bit more even in those areas. I kind of like to bring this up a smidge because what that kind of does is like it makes it a little bit lighter, a little bit more faded, and kind of gives it like that filmic look. And then I'm gonna bring up just that slightly and bring this down a bit. And if you could see what that does, you see that? It adds a little bit more dimension in the shadows, but also in the highlights, right? With that lighting, I'm pretty happy with that. We're probably gonna do some more light painting on just these areas here to make it a little bit more noticeable. But honestly, we did a pretty damn good job. Cousin, give yourself a pat on the back because look what we did. Look what we're creating right now. We're actually really doing a really good job on replicating this poster. This is so sick. It feels so good when your vision is actually coming to life right before your eyes. I think the temperature is pretty good. We had it pretty spot on. 4400 is what we were set at, so I actually don't mind it being like that. Now their skin tones are a little bit more yellow on the tinted side, so I wonder what happens when we tint it a bit more. You see that? When we tint it, you could see, maybe not the whole overall. No, even the background's a little bit tinted. So maybe we do actually overall. That looks pretty good. Vibrance. This is just gonna really make the colors pop, but we don't want to add too much because it's actually looking pretty good. What I like to do is go to the extreme, right? And then just start taking it back, pull back until it feels good. I think 20 is more in line with where this is at. And then saturation is the overall deepness of the color as well. I think the only thing that doesn't really stand out is Akuma and Ryu's gi. It's pretty it's probably just because of the figures themselves. This isn't really that deep of a this color. And same with Ryu's gi as well. But maybe we could change that. Maybe we can. Okay, let's just do a brush and let's go over. Let's increase the flow a bit. I want that to be more of a, and let's just paint over. We'll do Akuma's after. What happens if we increase the temp? Oh, there you go. There you go. That's matching. That's matching it a lot more. Now let's also do Akuma's to match. Okay. I wonder if we change the hue. There you go. Okay, so what does that look like on and off? See? Ooh, boom. Okay, saturation now. I think it needs even brighter. Yeah. Okay, how are we looking? Whoa, look at this A-B comparison from all our masking. Isn't that crazy? Man, sometimes that's what you gotta do, right? We're looking like we're in a really, really good spot. Maybe the only thing here is I know that his eye is glowing, but I could probably just like I was gonna do it in Photoshop, but I could probably just do that here. Let's add another, like expose it. Let's just make it really pop. Saturation. Cool. Are we happy with how this is looking so far? Are we good? I think we can also make the shadows a bit more dramatic. I'm gonna go to brush. I'm gonna decrease the flow a bit, and then I'm gonna paint on their face here, and just a bit more here as well. Down here too, underneath his hair. Just kind of match it, right? The exposure. Yeah, see? Bring those shadows. Yeah, really accentuate the highlights. Ooh. So maybe let's add this brush as well. It's just the back of his hair and all that. Yeah. Yeah. See what you could do with just like good lighting, good framing, good composition. This is our I know that we have this whole poster as our frame of reference, but I've never done something like this before, so this is very new to me. Doing this from scratch is just so much fun. Posing the figures, getting them to match the composition, putting it into Lightroom, and then also going into Photoshop. Man, this is so sick. I'm gonna take this now into Photoshop. What's really cool is you can do edit in Photoshop, um, and it opens it straight away. And here we are, right? Okay, so what do we want? We kind of want this. You know what? It's actually pretty bloomy. I'm gonna close this really quick. Don't save. And I'm gonna go to the main editing for the lighting here. And I'm gonna just increase, I'm gonna decrease the clarity. And add a little bit of dehaze. And see how much like that gives like that bloom? I really like that. I'm also gonna increase the texture just a smidge. And so if we see what this looks like before and after, yeah, it gives it a nice bloom.
With all the photo retouching that we've done so far, let's check this out. Holy crap. From this right here all the way to this.
Isn't that kind of crazy? This is Aloe from the editing room. Just wanted to quickly say this next part of the video where I'm doing the Photoshop tutorial part. Unfortunately, the audio got shot. I don't know what happened. The signals are going in and out and it just wasn't recoverable. So for this next portion, I'm going to just do a bit of a time lapse and a voiceover, and we're going to just talk through my thought process and some of the effects that I was doing. So for the most part, what I was looking at, I wanted to create a painterly effect on the poster. When I was looking back and forth between my composition and also the composition from the poster, there was this really nice paper texture. So I went online. I went to like a site called like Free Pick. I found a paper texture and I just kind of threw it over. I used like a screen overlay to kind of soften it up, and it worked out pretty well. And for Akuma's eye, I really wanted to make that bloom, so I wanted to try and match it. I just used a red soft brush, painted it in, and then just kind of diffused it a bit more and shaped it. And then afterwards, what I was looking at was the background, and I saw that the background had some nice texture in there, and I was wondering how could I replicate that, and I started using the smudge tool and a paintbrush tool and using a mixture of both and just painting it in more manually. And for the finishing touches, I was really liking this bloom that I was getting in certain parts of the image. So I wanted to highlight that a little bit more. So I took a really soft brush again, just painted on some white and then maybe just softened it up. And it started just coming together really nicely and tying it all in. And near the end of it, I was just trying to go find some logos, and I just threw them on. I found a Street Fighter Alpha 02 one and also the Capcom one and put it on. We're going to save this in our assets here, or even thumbnail. I'm going to call this Ryu Akuma poster Fin. I'm going to save that out and let's see how that looks. And here is our final composition. Oh my god, really cool. This is kind of where we started and this is where we ended up, and I am actually super stoked about that. That's actually looking so dope. Round of applause, cousin. Like, we did such a good job on this, I think.
We've done everything from beginning all the way to the end and compositing all the skills, okay? All the skill stacking, everything, lighting, composition, framing, Photoshop, and post-processing. And we recreated the exact poster that I saw as a young kid in my cousin's bedroom in full realization of this poster. And it just blows my mind that, you know, when you set your mind to something, you can actually do it. You just got to get creative. You got to learn the tools of the trade and just put everything together. Because let me tell you, I'm a multi-passionate person. There's so many different areas that I've been able to skill stack and to be able to do something like this. And so if that is something that is interesting to you too, okay, for the next 90 days, okay, I'm dedicating to my craft. And I'm also trying to find other creative hobbyists who are wanting to get to the next level of their content creation and really create some cool things and, you know, really create for the art of it. So if that sounds like you and you want to join this challenge, comment something in the comments down below, like 90 over 90, so that I know that you're actively building. And you can even tag me on social media, on Instagram. But here's my Instagram handle if you want to connect with me there and tag me in any posts or content that you create. It would be so cool to see it and see what the community is building. So cousin, that's all I have for this video. I don't know if you can hear baby crying in the background. I'm gonna go help my wife. So I appreciate you watching the video and all the support so far. So I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed. Peace.